Hello, my name is Darren Thomas, and I'm the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this video, we're going to take a look at synthetic division, which is another way of dividing polynomials or monomials or whatever you want to call it. Excuse me. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So let's just say I have the following. 3x to the third power plus 10x squared plus 6x minus 2, and I want to divide that by, in other words, my divisor is going to be x, x plus 2. Now, synthetic division is just another way to do the shortcut, because sometimes when you're working with polynomial division, if you will, sometimes it can get kind of long and complicated. And so synthetic division is kind of an alternative to that. And so there are several things that you have to do in order to have success with this. So, as I already mentioned, x plus 2, this is my divisor. In other words, if we were doing long division, this would be the number outside the box, while 3x cubed plus 10x squared plus 6x minus 2 will be my dividend. This would be the thing that would go inside the box if we were doing long division. Now, there are several things that we have to do to set this up to have success. So I'm going to kind of show you how they do it. So you have a little box like this, and then you have a little box like this. I might have to move this later. And what you do is this. Whenever you are going to do synthetic division, how it is that the divisor must always be in the format of x minus c, no matter what. So as you can see here, right now I have a positive 2, so I'm going to have to make this subtract. That's how it has to be. Synthetic division always has this format of x minus the constant, or x minus c, if you will. So I'm going to put my minus 2 right here inside the box. Okay, now the next thing you have to do is you have to decrease the power of all of the various things that are raised. So what I mean by that is 3x to the 3, that's going to become squared. And this is going to become, so this will be squared in a second, and this will become to the first power like so, because when I get the answer, I'm going to have two sets of numbers in parentheses, or two polynomials, or two whatever polynomials that you do, and when you multiply them, of course, you know you're going to raise it to a power, so we got to decrease the power first. So I know this is kind of weird so far, but let me just show you kind of what our answer, not the answer, but how we set this up. So we have the 2 here in the box, then we have 3, 10, 6, and minus 2. Now, where do these numbers come from? These are the constants in front of all of our variables for the most part, if you will. So the 3 comes down right here, the 10 moves over here, the 6 is here, and the minus 2 is right there. Now, after you do that, you have to, we draw a line like so, draw a line like this. And this is when you start to do the actual division. So the first thing you do is you bring down the first number here, the first number in the equation, the one that has the highest degree, if you will. So I bring down my 3 like this. Oh, also, by the way, I'm sorry, this is a minus 2. I forgot, because remember, we always want to have it, the constant, as a minus. So now that we've done that, what we do next is we take, excuse me, negative 2 times 3, and we get negative 6. We put the negative 6 right here. And now we add 10 plus negative 6, and of course we get positive 4. We just put the 4 like so, and then we do this process again. Negative 2 times 4 is going to be negative 8. Let me just change my color here, make this a little bit easier to read. So negative 8 right here, and then 6 plus negative 8 is going to be negative 2, like so. And then we have negative 2 times negative 2. That's going to be a positive 4. And like I already put the little box here, so negative 2 plus positive 4 is going to be positive 2. So this is our answer right here so far. So what does this mean? Well, it's very, very simple. The 3 is going to be 3x squared. Remember, we told you we decreased the power. And now we have plus 4x minus 2x. No. And so what we need to do here, let me back up for a second, is we have 3x squared plus 4x minus 2, because even this variable right here is kind of lost. I should have mentioned that earlier. And so all this is in parentheses. And then we have our original, we call it the divisor. So the original divisor was x plus 2. I put that in parentheses. And then one more thing that I forgot to mention, you're probably wondering, hey, what is this 2 right here? This, which of course, if you're familiar with algebra already, or dividing, excuse me, is our remainder. Our remainder is a positive 2. And so it goes out here like so. And if you were to run this whole thing, you could see that it can easily come out to our original answer of 3x cubed plus 10x squared plus 6x minus 2. So I'll do that real quick, and we'll be done. So let's see here. Excuse me. So 3x squared times x is going to be 3x cubed. That should look familiar. 4x times x is going to be plus 4x squared. And then, of course, minus 2 times it is going to be minus 2x. Almost done here. Now I do 3x squared plus times 2. I'm going to get plus 6x squared. And then 4x times 2. I'm going to get plus 8x. And then negative 2 times 2. I'm going to get minus 4. And then, of course, I have the plus 2 right here. All right. So if I work all that out, let's see here. 3x to the 3. I probably should have put it on another slide. Let me go here. So 3x to the third is going to just be by itself. So I'll just put that right here. 3x to the 3. This should look familiar. Plus 4x squared minus plus 4x squared plus 6x squared. Well, that would be 10x. That should sound familiar. Let's see here. So I've done that. I've done that. I've done that. Negative 2x plus 8x is going to be positive 6x. Again, this should sound familiar. And then, of course, we did that. Negative 4 plus 2 is going to be minus 2. And so you can see here that we got the exact same answer as before. Let me just read this out loud. 3x to the cube plus 10x squared plus 6x minus 2. This is our original answer, our original dividend, if you will. And you can see right here, 3x to the cube plus 10x squared plus 6x minus 2. Same answer. So we know we got the correct answer. So you can see how synthetic division provides you with another way to address dividing polynomials. So in this video, what we did was we took a look at how to use synthetic division. Synthetic division is an alternative way to do division involving polynomials and monomials, etc. And so to do this, you have to keep in mind the simple rule of what you have to do with we call it the divisor. It's always going to be in the format of x minus c, or x minus the constant. So in this particular problem, we had x plus 2, that became a negative 2. And then, of course, the long polynomial here, this was our dividend. In other words, if we were doing traditional division, it would be inside the box. Whereas the x minus c, or the x plus 2, will be outside the box. That's how it works. And so to set up synthetic division, you draw this little box here, right here, and then another little box down here. And then you put in order your terms from your polynomial. So this 3 comes from the 3, 10 comes from the 10, 6 comes from the 6, minus 2 comes from the minus 2. And then you go through the process. You have to keep in mind also that when you're wrapping things up, that you have to decrease the power of each term inside the polynomial. So like I said, it will become 3x squared, 10 to the first power, and the variable here for the x will disappear basically. And so when you go through the actual division part, you bring down the first term, then multiply this guy right here, I guess you can call this, again, the divisor, if you will, by the term you brought down to get this term. Okay, and then you add these together, and then you multiply this to get that term, add them together, multiply this guy to get this term. And so you get your answer, 3x squared, 4x minus 2. Remember that we're decreasing the powers. So that's what happened there. And then the last guy here, this guy will be your remainder. And so then you get your answer right here. You bring down your original divisor, put it right here in parentheses, and this is your answer, if you will. And plus you have the remainder on the outside. And then if you want to check, of course, you can just multiply across, add, and get the answer. So a lot of fun, and another practical tool that can be used when you're having to wrestle with various types of factors and polynomials, if you will. So I hope this video was useful for you and that things made sense when you were able to work your way through this. My name is Darren Thomas. I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. Take care.